Now, people always say money makes money and the rich get richer. But here's the secret nobody explained to us in school. Because once you hit your first $100,000 net worth, the game changes completely. So I'm going to break down exactly why your money starts to snowball after the first six-figure mark, and even more importantly, what you should focus on right now if you haven't hit 100K yet. So let's start with something simple but powerful, which is called scaled capital. Say you invest $1,000 and earn a 10% return, make essentially $100, right? Now that same return of 10%, I want you to apply that to $10,000. Now that's going to equate to $1,000. Now again, that same return on $100,000, that's $10,000 in a single year. And nothing about the investment changed, not the risk, not the time, but the dollar return explodes just because you're working with more money, essentially. Now, the second concept I like to cover is compound interest, also known as the snowball effect. Now, the reason why this is second is because compound interest is basically interest earning interest. Now, early on in your careers, you're probably grinding for every dollar because your investments are super tiny and you can't really see them. Imagine saving $1,000 a month at 8% average return. It takes about 7 years to hit your first 100K. But the next 100K, only 4 years. The next after that, just 3 years. Now, by the time you have $1 million, an extra 100K can show up in just over a year without you adding a single extra dollar to the original amount. And that, my friends, is the magic of compounding, where it's essentially slow at the very start, but then it starts to feel unstoppable and you'll start to see these gains come through. This is kind of like similar to if you had like a really small snowball at the very tip of the mountain, and as it rolls down the hill, it just gathers more snow, becoming bigger, bigger, bigger exponentially. Now, oftentimes I get asked, hey Brian, this sounds great, but how do I reach 100K faster? Because that sounds very unattainable in my life right now. And this is not professional financial advice, but I would say the biggest one is literally just start right now. You want to maximize time in the market because, as you can see, time is your biggest asset. If you invest $12,000 a year, for example, that's 20% of a 60K salary, and at an 8% return, after 23 years, you're at about $730,000. And if you just add 4 extra years, you're going to be over $1 million net worth. And every year you delay this process, you're essentially just stealing compounding interest away from your future self, so the earlier, the better. And that being said, even if you can't invest a ton of money, you can just invest just a little bit and you just start today. Let the time do the heavy lifting and you'll be surprised by how much your dollar actually grew. Now, the second thing that I like to focus on is that you want to focus on increasing your income and not only just chasing these fancy returns. Now, I like to say everybody obsesses over squeezing out an extra 1 to 2% in returns every single year. This could be meaning like, oh, what stock do I need to buy? Or what index fund do I need to buy? What crypto do I need to buy? Essentially, I would say that a bigger contribution is going to beat any small 1 to 2% return each year. For example, if you invest $200 a month for the next 30 years at a 10% return, that's going to be easily $400,000. Now, if you double it to $400 a month, that's $800,000. So essentially chasing like the magic index fund, like an ETF, stock, crypto, whatever it may be, it doesn't really matter as much because the more money that you're actually contributing is going to create a more like investing consistently type of mindset. And as you can see, it did earn you double the amount. So that being said, you want to be asking for raises at your current job. You may want to upgrade your skills a little bit, get some new skills under your tool belt that are very lucrative. You can also start different side hustles, basically anything that allows you to bring in more money. And hold on, don't spend that money, go invest that money. And number 3 is a nice one that I like to leave off with, which is to build good habits early. Like I said, you don't want to wait until you're rich to learn how to invest. Every single rich person that you see had to learn from something, someone, or somehow. So start with what you have now. Even $50 or $100 a month is perfectly fine to start out with. I remember I started investing with like maybe $100 as my like allowance money that came in. And now it's grown way over the 6-figure mark. And by starting early, this allows you to learn the platforms that you need to use to get to this stage, the mindset, and also just build these healthy financial habits. Then when your income grows, you'll already know how to deploy bigger money efficiently. It's kind of that concept of like, you need to know how to take care of a goldfish before you can get a pet dog, for example. Now, I would say the hardest part is that the first $100,000, because it feels like nothing is really moving. That's why early personal finance advice sounds so kind of frugal. And this is where you always hear like cutting out your lattes or budgeting or paying off high interest debt. Those moves feel small, but they stack up to hit six figures. Now, after 100K, the game shifts from extreme penny pinching to more strategic wealth building. And this means investing smarter, earning more, and leveraging your skills. So if you're grinding to your first 100K, keep going. I know it's a slow journey, but once you hit it, your money finally starts working harder than you do and kind of follows that path of make your money work for you. Scale plus compounding equals a wealth snowball in the end. So start early, earn more, invest consistently, and that six-figure mark will feel like a moment that you've unlocked a cheat code and you'll feel like, hey, I can actually make it in this life financially. That's it for this video, but if you guys want a more in-depth video about any topic, I'd be happy to cover it, so drop it in the comments down below. And if you want to see how I'm investing my own money as a 24-year-old, feel free to check out the link in the description below. That's my portfolio. You can see exactly what I'm buying, and feel free to follow me on my other socials. But in the meantime, hit subscribe, like, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.